So at the end of your essay, you're also going to need to provide a bibliography. Now, a bibliography is a list of all the sources used throughout your essay. Now, in Egyptology essays, you can just stick to one list for all your sources with your ancient and modern sources thrown in. For classics, so Greek and Roman essays, you need to separate into ancient and modern sources. So thinking about what we've just said, what's wrong with this bibliography, taking in mind that this is a classics essay? So hopefully you worked out what was wrong with the previous slide. Now, if you haven't noticed already, so this is a classics essay, so you need to separate your ancient sources from your modern scholarship. You also need to have all your sources in alphabetical order by the author. You need to have the city, not the country of publication. You need to make sure you have all the publication details. And for book chapters or articles, you need to have the entire page numbers, so as here.
Our next thing to consider after we've thought about referencing is academic style. So if you're wondering what academic style is, it doesn't involve long, wordy sentences and paragraphs. In fact, what you're aiming for is clarity and simplicity. Okay, so feel free to just pause this video at this stage just to have a bit of a read of the cartoon, because it really summarises this point really well. Okay, so a few tips. What you don't want to do is just to describe or to tell a story. Okay, so that's often referred to as waffling. So yes, waffles taste nice, but markers don't want to be reading through your essay and thinking, wow, this person is waffling on, because they will then get hungry. Okay, so if you're wondering what good academic style is, a nice test is to read through your piece of writing, okay, whether that's a tutorial paper or an essay or whatever. So some things to keep in mind is that clarity is the best approach. You want to avoid colloquial or idiomatic vocabulary, for instance, blokes, tops, Sheilas, okay? So you want to be very professional in what you're writing. So you wouldn't want to be writing an essay or reading someone else's essay that says, the Sheilas in Pompeii, blah, 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 okay? That's not good academic style. So another thing to keep in mind is preciseness. You want to be very, very precise in what you're writing. You don't just want to be very vague. You want to avoid adverbs that show your personal attitudes, such as luckily or interestingly, because you'll get a note beside it saying, why is this interesting? You want to avoid contractions. So contractions are things that are mashed together like don't and can't. And if you're thinking about your word limit and you're looking for extra words, pulling them apart can add extra words as well. And try to avoid the question form. So for instance, you're supposed to be the expert when you're writing, okay? You're writing on something that you've researched, that you've learned a lot about. So you're not wanting to look unsure about anything, and that's what questions can do, okay? They reflect that you're not actually mastering the topic itself. And lastly, avoid two-word adverbs. So for instance, go on can actually be one word, continue. Okay, so that's more professional. Here is a few things for you to just read through and think about what's wrong with the sentences, okay? A good rule is to read them out aloud. Okay, now that you've had a chance to have a look at this, we'll just go through them together. So, first sentence, Rome possessed an amphitheatre, because writing a amphitheatre doesn't make grammatical sense in English. Number two, Pliny the Younger is the subject of the sentence, so he's not going to sit at the end of the sentence like he was on the slide before. It's going to say one ancient Roman, being Pliny the Younger, blah, blah, blah. Then next we've got the deep streets of Pompeii had benefits, not had positive benefits. Okay, that's called a double tautology. Fourthly, we've got excavations in the Valley of the Kings continue, not go on. And our fifth point, the last slide said it is interesting to know. We're wanting to remove anything that suggests something is interesting. And so in this instance, we're just going to cut that straight out and just say an Indian figurine was found in Athens. So lastly, we're going to look at formatting and presentation. Things to keep in mind, and while these are listed here, also keep in mind that you should be referring to your unit guides and also to the Department of Ancient History presentation guide. Okay, and you can get that off the Department of Ancient History website. Okay, so things that are definitely going to be on your to-do list when you're finalising off your assignment. Firstly, you need to align your text, okay? Then you need to 1.5 or double space your essay, and that includes footnotes and your bibliography as well. You need to insert any footnotes and your bibliography that you haven't already included. You want to use an appropriate font, so ensure that if you are doing languages or are including a translation, you do have the transliteration fonts uploaded onto your computer and installed. You want to print on unused, clean A4 paper. No one likes to see an essay with a teacup mark on it because it's been sitting on your desk. And include page numbers, your student number, your name, and the essay title as well. And you want to include that on every single page. When you're thinking about submitting your assignment, so this is specific to internal students, you want to include the personalised cover sheet. Okay, so this is the URL for it here. You can download the sheet and have your name, subject, the assignment number and everything on it. Okay, and those assignments get submitted in the assignment boxes that are at the entrance to W6A. Obviously, if you are an external student, your assignments will go to the Centre for Open Education with a different cover sheet, and for any OUE students as well, the process will be slightly different. Final tips for you that we would like to impart to all students. Firstly is to use tutors and lecturers. They have what's called a contact hour or contact hours where they're required to be available for students to come and ask questions. So that's a great opportunity if you're not sure about anything to do with essays or anything in general regarding your subject to just go and ask them. Second recommendation is to edit. Print out, read, play devil's advocate, make sure that it's very, very polished. Okay, if you work through the night and are sitting there at 3 AM wondering if it actually makes sense, it is always a good idea to have some sleep when you're actually trying to write an essay. If you leave it overnight and come back the next day, you'll be surprised just how much more efficient the process is. Third thing to consider is the Telly's Angels seminars. So the writing seminar supplement resources are all up on the website, so they include essay writing checklist. They're all up there. The referencing guide that Maddie was talking about before is also up on the website. Okay. And lastly, there's this learning skills services, so workshops and quick guides that are available for everyone at Macquarie University. So all students can actually use these services. So that brings us to the end of our seminar. We hope you've learned a lot from that and that it's been very, very helpful for you. If you are looking to get in contact with us, here are our contact details, and we're more than happy to answer any of your questions. So we'd just like to say as a final wrap up, all the very best and good luck.